the Mizoram numbers. It's all 0, 0, 0, 0 at the moment. Soon, we expect those numbers to come through. And I also am joined by a panel of experts to take us through the results of Mizoram, starting with Geeta Bhatt, political analyst, Amitabh Tiwari, political strategist, Aditi Fadnis, senior journalist, Subhashini Yadav, spokesperson of the Congress. Amitabh Tiwari has promised to take me through Mizoram very, very carefully. I told him that I don't know much about the state. So yesterday his promise said that, look, I'll forget the Hindi heartland. I'll only work on Mizoram today. So thank you, Amitabh, for being bright and early in the morning joining us. Aditi Fadnis, let me start with you first. In terms of the significance of this election in Mizoram, just put it in the national context for us.
The national context, I think, is quite clear. Events in Manipur did affect Mizo politics as they always do, and particularly tribe and religious politics. And the other additional factor is the refugees who are coming in from Myanmar after the coup took place. Both these are not directly related to the politics, to the voter preference in Mizoram, but they do have a very unsettling effect on the politics of Mizoram. And Mizoram is Kuki dominant. The Meiteis, as you know, are the dominant community in Manipur. So Mizoram has emerged as a kind of I don't know if you can call it that, but a safe haven for Kuki tribes. Right. And this is leading to a certain amount of political consolidation also. The other factor is, of course, the emergence of the Zoram People's Movement, which is an utterly fascinating study in the rise of popular movements in states. So the Zoram People Movement was launched quite some time ago, but it contested the 2018 elections for the first time, and now it is contesting on a wide scale in Mizoram. It stands for, it's an amalgamation of issues related to Mizo identity, as well as a new way of looking at politics, as well as putting forward issues relating to development of Mizoram, infrastructure development and so on. In terms of the national implications, there are not too
Aditi,
many...
I just want to hold you there. Just tell us a little bit more about the personalities, since you've tracked this very closely, both about Lal Duhoma and Zoramthanga. Both extremely interesting personalities, and just sort of juxtapose them for us quickly.
Zoramthanga, as you know, was the chief minister. He is a very interesting person because he's made the transition very successfully from an underground UG activist to a overground politician. He is the master of the balancing act. He, for instance, even now, although he has broken from the BJP, he continues to be committed to the idea that Mizoram and MNF should be part of the Northeastern Development Alliance, the NEDA, which has been propelled by Himanta Biswa Sarma, the Chief Minister of Assam, as a separate alliance, not exactly separate, but a distinct alliance in the NDA. He's a very talented person, and he broke from the BJP weeks before the election. But as I told you, he's the master of the balancing act and can get back with the BJP anytime if it suits him.
On the other hand, you have Lal Duhoma, who is a former IPS officer who served in Indira Gandhi's security detail, goes and launches the Zoram People's Movement.
That's right. And the Zoram People's Movement is less driven by Lal Duhoma, much more driven by the personalities that form it. And it has most interesting candidates, including the Zizi, the greatest football player in Mizoram, is one of the candidates. Another candidate is a gospel singer who is very well known in the music mad Northeast. There are many other candidates. The sense of grievance is only that if this is going to be a new movement, the presence of women is relatively low.
Right. Okay.
Many of these societies, as you know, are matriarchal, and women are very powerful influences. But we
Okay.
are not seeing that kind of representation by any party given to women.
Okay. So thank you, Aditi, for putting that in perspective. Obviously, for those who observe national politics, Amitabh Tiwari, often we don't tend to know as much about states like Mizoram and the intricacies of politics. How do you see it from the national picture? In a sense, Manipur has been a major issue in the last 6 to 8 months. How do you see these results playing out in the national picture from the national narrative point of view?
See, just to keep the context for the national audience, one or two data points I'll tell you. There are only 8.6 lakh voters in Mizoram, which means only around 25,000 voters per assembly seat, which is 1/10 of the, let's say, the normal Hindi heartland seats which we were speaking yesterday. The elections are always close here. Out of 40, on 19 seats, the margin was less than 1,000 votes. So it's going to go down the wire. Out of 6 exit polls, 2 have said it will be a hung house, 2 have said ZPM will win, and 2 have said the MNF will win. Now, coming to the national implications of this. See, the Northeast politics is generally aligned to central politics. Whichever party is in power at the center, normally the regional parties, be it Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, etc., tend to align with the party at the center. That was the case with MNF. Now, due to this Manipur issue and its overhang on the Mizoram elections, Zoramthanga has tried to distance himself from NDA and has even made a statement that he would not be sharing stage with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. I think, however, this has come very late, because if you see his Twitter ID, it's still sharing a photo with Narendra Modi as the DP. As the DP. So he has not officially come out of NDA. This is just a political balancing act which he has done. BJP, seeing that its partner is not fairly comfortable with sharing stage, Narendra Modi has not even gone and campaigned there.
Okay.
So now it has one Lok Sabha seat. So national implications may not be huge because of the numbers ultimately, but it could send a message in the entire Northeast. This aggressive politics of sort of BJP, similar to what it has been
The
doing
numbers,
in.
Amitabh, sorry, the numbers may not be extremely consequential, but in terms
Yeah.
of perception, it may be an
Yeah.
important one.
Yeah, so that's what. So the style of politics of BJP, which it is implementing in the Northeast, is similar to what it has been doing in a pan-India level. It's aggressive politics of keeping allies on the toes and poaching MLAs, forming governments with the help of regional parties, overthrowing governments. So this could, in fact, lead to a perception issue for the BJP if its partner loses badly.
As you're
And
saying
just
that, the
last
first set
point-
of numbers, Amitabh, are flashing on our screens. You see the Mizo National Front of Zoramthanga leading in two, obviously extremely early leads. As you say, 25,000 votes in a constituency, and 50, 60 could change the whole thing. So this is not over till it's over. But for the moment, the leads coming in, Mizo National Front up in 2 seats. The BJP in one, leading one. Remember, BJP won last time. Congress leading in 1 seat. There you see on your screens. And the Zoram People's Movement leading in 1. Just as I get Geeta. Geeta, how important, how closely would New Delhi be looking at the Mizoram results? Before I go to Subhashini Yadav, and then we'll soon have a BJP spokesperson as well. Geeta, first to you.
Yeah. So, Veeraji, if you see the Mizoram election scene, I think for the Congress party, it's one last chance for them in the Northeast, where they had a significant presence in Mizoram politically. So now this is one last chance for them, and a large number of their political leaders, national leaders, also have been, visiting the state, trying to revive their presence and to influence the voters over there. and their strategy has been more or less, standing on the, creating a fear for BJP, that if BJP comes in power, what is going to happen in the state. So that kind of, yesterday also when we were talking in terms of the rest of the Hindi heartland election results, this was again and again coming in the discussion that for the Congress, it has been largely a very negative campaign in these states. And similar kind of effect is also where there have been making speeches in Mizoram, the Congress leaders. There also they have been trying to focus more on creating a fear for BJP. And second aspect, which Aditi ji also had put forward very interestingly, that the present assembly in Mizoram, it does not have a single woman MLA at present. And also, ever since Mizoram has been formed, the woman representation, in spite of there being a matriarchal society, largely, in the Northeast, there have been either 3 or 4 MLAs, women MLAs, who have been in the part of the assembly. But this time, is it because of the Nari Shakti Abhinandan bill being passed, or there are 16 women who have, who are there in the fray? And the political parties have put forward 2 or 3 candidates. A large number of them are independents also. So I think that is something interesting, that there are a number of independent women who have come out for contesting the election,
Right.
irrespective of what the result will be. But that is something that is also the kind of change in the society that is coming, that
Right.
a large number of women are actually contesting. Even if we look in rest of the India also, the number of contestants, the representation, finally those who get into the assembly or into the parliament, that is different. But the contestants who are actually coming out and trying their the political fate, that is also something which would be interesting to observe.
Right, interesting, several interesting aspects. I'll have to take a break, but I just want to quickly get Subhashini before I can go into a break. How does the Congress really be viewing this after what happened yesterday in the Hindi heartland, a total washout? Telangana, of course, you'll have a CLP meeting by 9:30. How do you see the Congress really seeing Mizoram and really the impact of national politics itself on that state?
Hi, good morning. I'm sure this day is going to be good for our party as well. Yesterday, of course, we did not expect such kind of results. And I would like to quote here, like exactly 20 years ago, we were washed out the same way from when we lost in states like Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, and Rajasthan. And that time we were also winning Delhi. But within a few months, the party bounced back and went on to emerge as the single largest party in Lok Sabha when Dr. Manmohan Singh ji became the Prime Minister. So this is part of democracy. Loss and win is just two sides of and two beauties of democracy. We don't see like that. Yes, of course, we have won Telangana, and that is the
Let's talk more about Mizoram, what the party's
No,
hopes
I
are
will be
for
coming on this. I will be coming on this. Of course, we won Telangana, but nobody will be talking about it. Just like how
No,
we
we
won
spoke
Himachal
about
Pradesh
Telangana
previously.
extensively last night.
And
We will
coming to
speak.
Mizoram,
Yeah.
Mizoram is the state which is the neighboring state with Manipur. And we have seen how violence has hit Manipur. And Mizoram, of course, has an impact on it. We don't claim that we will be forming a single largest party there because as we see the exit poll and our internal survey, there will be a hung assembly. But here we see that how people are aggressively voting and going to form the government, and the Congress is going to be in the shape of kingmaker there in Mizoram. But if we see how the violence hit Manipur and the Prime Minister kept himself out of this picture, and here in Mizoram election campaign also he did not went him by himself because he knew he's going to face the repercussions. So people of Manipur have understood how BJP has failed to convince them and safeguard their national rights.
Okay.
Same way the Mizoram people are not going to invest their interest into the BJP party or any other party who is the part of the National Northeastern Democratic
Okay.
Alliance. The MNF and the ZPM have already kept themselves out from the NDA. Now we are going to see how we are going to form the government in the Mizoram, and I see from the survey like we have already gained 1 or 2 seats there. in Mizoram. So I am very much confident that we are going to form government either with the help of these regional parties or single-handedly.
Okay, we'll see how that plays out. For the moment, there you see on your screens the Mizo National Front up in 4, ZPM up in 3, Congress up in 2, BJP none at the moment, and others none. But we'll keep a close track of how this evolves, how this plays out. From a national point of view, it's a perception battle, but from that state's point of view and from the Northeast point of view, it's an extremely important election battle given the backdrop of all that we've seen in the neighboring state of Manipur. We'll keep a close track of this, but we'll slip into a short break. When we come back, our expert panel will continue to guide us through Mizoram elections and the other big developments that we are expecting politically from the rest of the country. Welcome back. We are tracking the Mizoram result there. Zoramthanga or Lalduhoma. That seems to be the battle. And of course, as Aditi Fadnes, who's part of our panel, pointed out, there are several other people in the Zoram people's movement. It's not revolved around one personality, including some fascinating personalities there. The initial results coming up on your screen, which is, the initial trends and leads coming up on your screen. ZPM or the Zoram people's movement, 5 seats leading in 5, Mizo National Front getting trends in 4, Congress getting trends in 3 in favour, and the BJP none as yet. Just putting this into perspective, Aditi, obviously it's going to be very early for the results to come out, and as Amitabh was pointing out, its constituencies are as small as 25,000 voters. In terms of the import as far as Northeast is concerned from these elections? Well, from the national point of view, it's more of a perception battle. It may not be consequential in terms of numbers, but in terms of the Northeast itself and the politics of the Northeast, what would this symbolize? What would this election symbolize? Does it have a defining significance?
You know, Veera, you used a phrase, it isn't over till it's over. I think that applies to Mizoram, the current situation, very accurately. Because we have to wait and see exactly who forms the government and who is on the winning side. I say this because although politics in Mizoram has been more stable in terms of defections than, say, in Nagaland or even in Manipur, where wholesale parties have crossed over and formed governments, that has not really been the case in Mizoram. But we have to wait and see who gets the larger numbers, how the alliances firm up, and who actually forms the government. It's only after that that we can reach a judgment on, what is going to happen and what kind of implications the new government in Mizoram is going to have for northeastern politics.
Geeta ji and Amitabh next. First, Geeta ji, there's been a lot of questions raised about the Northeast, especially about Manipur. How much do you think, in fact, in the last session of Parliament, this was an issue that really dominated and, was a very important issue. How do you see, what would you see would be the centre's main concerns as far as Mizoram is concerned, and largely in terms of Northeast as well? And what do you see the roadmap ahead?
Well, Veeraji, in the last few months and very recently also, one of the resistance groups, especially in the context of Manipur, because there has been even this election in Mizoram, again and again the issue of Manipur was being put forth as one of the election main issues. One of the main Meitei resistance group, they have already, surrendered in front of the government. And with this development, I think, the peace process and the kind of instability that Manipur has seen and its ripple effect in the rest of the northeastern states, that I think it is going to make a change, and slowly this is going to probably, I think, is going to accelerate the normalization of situation in Manipur, and that will definitely have its own impact in the rest of the northeastern states. Also with the, as you mentioned, and we know that today the winter session is beginning in the parliament, in the backdrop of the election results of, yesterday and today from Mizoram, I think the opposition parties, they will be more into looking at in terms of absorbing of what has happened yesterday and what is expected in Mizoram today, and that is going to reflect on the on how the opposition parties are going to put forth their points in the parliament today. Also, we
Okay.
know that one of the important issues that is going to come up is the report of the ethics committee that is going to be tabled today, and the Mahua Moitra effect, which is being called, considering that that this time the Parliament has also not allowed the personal secretaries of the parliamentarians to have an access to the portal of
Right.
the parliament, which can be accessed by the parliamentarians. So those issues are, I think, going to dominate
That's
on the
true.
first couple of days of the winter session.
Post 10 o'clock, we will only be speaking about Parliament and the action that happens there. Till 10 o'clock, we can focus on Mizoram. Amitabh Tiwari, really, in terms of the perception battle, in terms, you had the entire India Alliance members going down to Manipur. The accusation is that the centre has not acted on Manipur. That's been one part of it. On the other hand, you have this Mizoram elections. In terms of the larger narrative, you put the context in terms of numbers brilliantly with that statistics with your opening comments. But in terms of the larger political and perceptional narrative, how important is this for both the centre and for the Congress? Because I also point out, we've discussed all of yesterday, a south-north divide. Northeast and the east is also an extremely important factor when it comes to that.
See, the BJP and the Prime Minister have earned a lot of goodwill in the Northeast by their infrastructure push. And the Prime Minister has also put his personal political capital in the Northeast. However, the Manipur issue or the incidents have come as a setback to the BJP. Thank God there has been peace for the past few months, and the situation is normalizing, as Geeta ji is saying. Now, if the MNF, which is sort of still not part of NDA, is able to form the government, then the narrative which will be taken out from these results is that the Manipur issue is more or less settled, and it's not, or it did not have a significant impact on the neighboring Mizoram, leave the entire Northeast, because each state is unique and is different. Most of the regional parties, even opposing BJP, are part of the NEDA because they are dependent upon the grants from the center. Now, if ZPM is able to form the government, again, ZPM is not part of the official India alliance. It's sort of a third block. I mean, in to put the analogy, it's like the Aam Aadmi Party of
Mizoram.
Mizoram, if it's able to win, because it has some very unique and local candidates. So again, the Congress may not be able to drive home the narrative that the BJP's policy in Manipur has backfired in Mizoram, because Congress is not the beneficiary of that. It's a third party or a regional party. If the Congress becomes kingmaker in a hung assembly situation, then the narrative could be that BJP failed in its policy in Manipur, and that is being felt in other states, in the neighboring states as well. Only 10,500 votes are postal ballot votes here. So we should move to AVMs quite quickly here.
I know we might have moved to AVMs, and given the numbers, I think the results will also possibly come out really fast there, Amitabh. 8 at the moment leading for the ZPM, the Zoram People's Movement, the MNF leading in 6, Congress in 5, none yet for the BJP. So it will be interesting in terms of the perception battle and also the consequence for that state there. We'll keep tracking the Mizoram result all until it's over.